Through 2 bars packed with foreign tourists on the Indonesian island of Bali.
Welcome to our series of videos on the origin of Islamic terrorism. Is terrorism a fundamental part of Islamic ideology? How did the first acts of terror occur in Islamic history? Who was the first to use violence and intimidation against his critics and opponents? These are the questions that we will explore in this series, using the most authentic and reliable sources of Islamic history and hadith. So stay tuned, because we are about to reveal some shocking facts.
Very disturbing one coming from France. A history teacher who discussed cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad with his students was beheaded, and the suspect attacker shouted, "Allahu Akbar," or "God is greatest."
Those who offend the messenger of God will receive a painful punishment. Quran, Surah 9, verse 61. In the year 622 CE, Muhammad and many Muslims managed to migrate from Mecca to Medina to join a more welcoming community to their new religion. With the support of the two major tribes of Medina, Aus and Khazraj, Muhammad quickly took steps to establish an Islamic government under his own leadership. It was natural for a newly formed and developed government to face some critics and political opponents. However, Muhammad, the new political leader of Medina, did not digest the criticism against him that easily. Poetry was a powerful and popular form of expression in Arabia long before Islam. Poets used their verses to convey their ideas and opinions, to praise their friends and allies, and to mock and condemn their enemies and rivals. However, Muhammad, the founder of Islam, did not just reply to his critic poets, but he resorted to violence and terror to silence them. It's very important to study the details of Muhammad's legacy, as it has a direct effect on the behavior of Muslims, especially the fanatic ones in today's world. According to Islamic ideology promoted by Muslim clerics, Islamic laws are not only based on Quran, but also Muhammad's traditions and practices. The year 624 marked a violent chapter in the establishment of Muhammad's Islamic State. Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, or Ka'b son of al-Ashraf, was a Jewish poet and a leader of the Banu Nadir tribe in Medina. He was a critic of Muhammad and the Muslims, and he wrote poems that mocked and insulted them. He also encouraged the Quraysh of Mecca to fight against the Muslims and planned to kill Muhammad. The Quraysh were the dominant tribe of Mecca, whose leaders were the fiercest foes of the Muslims. Muhammad himself belonged to this tribe, but he had left Mecca and migrated to Medina with his followers. Ka'b was furious when the Muslims defeated the Quraysh at the Battle of Badr in 624 CE. He went to Mecca to grieve for the dead and urged the pagans to take revenge. He also made a pact with Abu Sufyan, the leader of the Quraysh, to form an alliance against the Muslims. Muhammad wanted to get rid of Ka'b as a threat and asked his companions, who is willing to deal with Ka'b, son of al-Ashraf, who has irritated Allah and his messenger? Muhammad bin Maslama, a loyal Muslim and a skilled horseman, volunteered to kill Ka'b. But he asked Muhammad for permission to lie and deceive Ka'b, as he knew that Ka'b would not trust him otherwise. Muhammad granted him the permission by saying, "Say what you like, for you are free in the matter." Muhammad, son of Maslama, gathered 4 other companions, including Ka'b's foster brother, most likely named Abu Naila, and went to Ka'b's fort at night. They pretended to be unhappy with Muhammad and the Muslims and asked Ka'b to sell them some food and weapons. Then Al-Waqidi brings a narration in his book about the moments before the terror as this. Muhammad bin Maslama said to Ka'b, "O Ka'b, we want you to know that we have left Muhammad and his religion, and we want you to be our leader. We have come to you to seek your advice and guidance." Ka'b was pleased and flattered by these words, and he let his guard down. Muhammad bin Maslama then said, "Do you smell this wonderful fragrance?" Ka'b said, "Yes, what is it?" Muhammad bin Maslama said, "It is the fragrance of paradise, which I have been promised by Allah and His Messenger if I kill you." He then grabbed Ka'b by his hair and stabbed him in the chest, while the other companions joined him in finishing him off. They then cut off Ka'b's head and took it to Muhammad, who praised them for their deed. According to Ibn Sa'd, Muhammad said, "Allahu Akbar, or Allah is great. The son of Al-Ashraf is dead." In his book of Tafsir, At-Tabari brings a narration that describes the moments after the terror as this. Abu Naila ran his hand through his hair. Then he smote him with his sword and killed him. They cut and separated his head and brought it to Muhammad. The messenger of God said, "Allah is great. This is a day when the deeds of his men have benefited them." Abu Naila said, "I have killed Ka'b bin al-Ashraf, O messenger of God. Do you know something that will please you more than that?" "No, Allah is great. Ka'b, son of al-Ashraf, is dead, the enemy of God." "Did you kill him?" "Yes." "Give me the head." He gave him the head, and the messenger of God spat upon it. He said, "Praise be to Allah who has helped you to kill him and has made the Muslims happy by his death." The Muslims celebrated the killing of Ka'b al-Ashraf, a Jewish poet who opposed Muhammad and his religion. Among them, Hassan, son of Thabit, the poet of the Prophet, was particularly delighted. You may remember him from the second episode of Muhammad's Many Wives series, where we learned that he enjoyed the company of Maria's sister, who was given to him by Muhammad as a reward for his poetry. Hassan composed a poem in praise of the killers, glorifying their deed. They said, "Allah is great. We have killed the son of Al-Ashraf." The Prophet said, "Allah is great. You have done well." The Jews were terrified and mourned their loss. They realized that they had no power against Allah and His Messenger. They learned that whoever opposes Allah and His Messenger will meet the same fate as Ka'b bin al-Ashraf. Ka'b, son of Malik, was also a companion of Muhammad and a poet who praised the killing of Ka'b, son of al-Ashraf. "We carried Ka'b's head and brought it among the Banu Nadir. The cup of death overflowed and spilled over his beard. We did not do a deed more pleasing to Allah and His Messenger than slaying the enemy of Allah and His Messenger. We killed him with our swords and made him taste the bitterness of death. We left his wife and children in sorrow and distress."
Deadly terror attacks on Easter Sunday. There was a new explosion in the capital, Colombo, just a short time ago.
Abu Afak was a Jewish poet who lived in Medina and resisted Muhammad and his religion. He was an old man who had reached 120 years of age when Muhammad arrived in Medina in 622 CE. He did not embrace Islam and was outspoken about his opposition to Muhammad and his followers. He composed verses that ridiculed and insulted them and stirred up the people against them. According to At-Tabari, Abu Afak wrote a poem after the Battle of Badr in March 624 CE, when the Muslims defeated the Quraysh of Mecca. In his poem, Abu Afak praised the Quraysh and their allies and criticized the Muslims and their allies. He also challenged Muhammad to a duel or battle, which was most likely a poetic contest considering Abu Afak's age, or just a metaphor for Abu Afak's resistance to Muhammad's authority and religion, and not a literal invitation to a physical battle. Poetic contests similar to today's rap battles were very common in Arabia before Islam, and they often held poetry competitions in their annual festivals and markets, one of which was called Ukaz Market. Muhammad, however, was enraged by Abu Afak's poem and asked his companions, "Who will deal with this rascal for me?" Salim, son of Umair, a devout Muslim, volunteered to kill Abu Afak. He asked Muhammad for permission to lie and deceive Abu Afak, and Muhammad granted it. This order of killing a poet happened while Muhammad himself had his own poets who kept slamming the enemies and critics of Islam, including Abu Afak. Salim waited for an opportunity until a hot night in the summer of 624 CE. When Abu Afak slept in the courtyard of his house, Salim crept into his house, placed his sword on his liver until it pierced his bed. Abu Afak screamed and died. His followers rushed to him, took him inside his house, and buried him. The killing of Abu Afak was celebrated by the Muslims, and especially by Umama, son of Muzayriyah, a poet and a companion of Muhammad. He composed a poem in praise of the killer and recited it in the mosque in the presence of Muhammad and his followers. You gave the lie to God's religion and the man Ahmad. By him who was your father, evil is the son he produced. A Hanif gave you a thrust in the night, saying, "Take that, Abu Afak, in spite of your age, though I knew whether it was man or jinn who slew you in the dead of night." The poem indirectly warned the enemies of Islam of a similar fate if they opposed Muhammad and the Muslims. It is also clear from the poem that Abu Afak opposed Muhammad using his words, not his sword or even money. What do you think of this act of terror against a 120-year-old poet who only expressed his views and feelings through his verses? Do you think Muhammad, as a source of spirituality and morality for Muslims, had a moral justification for killing Abu Afak, while he himself had poets who defended him and denounced his opposition? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. It's worth mentioning that there is no evidence that Abu Afak ever fought with weapons or violence against Muhammad or the Muslims, according to the early Islamic sources. Hey, by the way, if you guys liked what you heard so far, please support us by liking and sharing this video. This will also help more people to receive this awareness and help you to get suggested more similar videos on YouTube. Especially, I ask you for a favor to like the video because so many radical Muslims often attack this channel by disliking its videos to prevent YouTube from spreading its clips. We will now talk about the killing of Asma Bint Marwan, a woman from the tribe Banu Umayyah bin Zayd, who dared to challenge Muhammad and paid the ultimate price for her words. Asma bint Marwan was a poetess and a leader of her people, who were mostly pagans and opposed to Muhammad's new religion. She was also the wife of Yazid bin Zayd, a man from the Banu Khatma tribe who had allied with Muhammad and his followers. Outraged by the killing of the 120-year-old poet Abu Afak and other prominent figures of Medina by Medinian Muslims, she composed verses that publicly criticized the Muslims and mocked their religion. She also urged her people to fight against Muhammad and his followers and to avenge the deaths of their chiefs. These verses reached the ears of Muhammad, who was angered by them. He asked his companions, "Who will rid me of Marwan's daughter?" One of them, Umar, son of Ad, a man from the Aus tribe, volunteered to kill her. Muhammad gave him his permission, and Umar bin Adi set out to assassinate Asma bint Marwan. Umar went to her house at night while she was sleeping with her children. According to the details of Ibn Ishaq's book, The Life of Muhammad, he removed the infant child from her breast and stabbed her in the chest. He then fled to Muhammad and told him what he had done. Based on At-Tabari and Ibn Ishaq, she had 5 sons at the time of her death. This is how At-Tabari narrates the dialogue between Muhammad and Umair after the terror. He had been told that she had 5 sons, so he said, "I did not think that I should be safe until I had killed them all." He went to the messenger of God and said, "I have killed her. You have given God and his messenger help. She had 5 sons whom I have also killed. You have given God and his messenger help with regard to them." Based on Ibn Ishaq's narration, certified by Ibn Hisham, when he asked if he would have to bear any evil consequences, the apostle said, "2 goats won't butt their heads about her." So Umar went back to his people to give them the news. The next morning, the news of Asma bint Marwan's death spread in Medina. The people were shocked and terrified by the killing of a woman in her sleep. Some of them said, "He has killed the daughter of Marwan. By God, if he can kill her, he can kill anyone." The Banu Khatma tribe, to which Asma's husband belonged, were afraid that they would be attacked by the Muslims. They decided to convert to Islam and to pledge their loyalty to Muhammad. They said, "We are Muslims. We believe in God and his apostle. Do not kill us, for we have done nothing." Muhammad accepted their conversion and spared them. The killing of Asma bint Marwan is a controversial event in the history of Islam. Some Muslim scholars consider this story to be a forgery, though all the early Muslim historians confirmed her terror. They state that one of the reporters in the chain of narration, Muhammad ibn al-Hajjaj, is known for fabricating hadiths. Yet Muslims quote many other hadiths by Muhammad ibn al-Hajjaj, and they do not reject all his hadiths and historical narrations. He is one of the narrators of Sahih Muslim, one of the most authentic collections of hadiths in Sunni Islam. He also narrated many hadiths in many other collections of Islamic narrations. Ironically, some other Muslim scholars defend the authenticity of this story and argue that Muhammad ibn al-Hajjaj was a reliable narrator who was praised by many hadith experts. They also claim that this story is supported by other evidences, such as the verses of the Quran that permit the killing of those who mock and offend Muhammad and the Muslims. The verse that is often cited by these scholars is Surah 9, verse 61, which we quoted in the beginning of the clip. These Muslim scholars interpret this verse as a warning and a threat to those who mock Muhammad and the Muslims, and as a justification for killing them. They say that the painful penalty mentioned in the verse refers to both the punishment in the hereafter and the punishment in this world. They also cite other verses and hadiths that can condemn the mockery of Muhammad and the Muslims, and that command the believers to terminate the offenders. In the next clip, we will continue to narrate more terrors committed by Muhammad and the early Muslims. Like and subscribe to see more from us in the future, and share this clip to spread the awareness. Let us know in the comments what you think about these terrors ordered directly by Muhammad. How do you justify them, or why do you condemn them? There is certainly an ideal model for you in the Apostle of Allah.
الله أكبر والعزة للإسلام والمسلمين تمكنوا من رقاب المجاهدين والمقاتلين. طاهر يا حاج. أيوة. اكسر.